What if pain or a challenge you're facing was not a punishment, but a portal to a whole new version of you, a better version of you? That's what I'm talking about today on Wellness by Design. I'm your host, Jane Hogan, the wellness engineer. And I'm getting personal today, talking about my own story, my pain to purpose story, which led me to the work that I do today and to writing my book that's coming out very soon, which is called Pain Free on Purpose: How to Use Your Mind to Heal Your Body and Get Your Life Back. All right, I'll see you inside the episode. Don't forget to like, rate, review, subscribe, and share this episode with someone who is facing a challenge in their life. And it could help them see the gift in it and how it can actually open up an even better life for them. All right, I'll see you inside the episode. All right, let's talk about this pain to purpose story, my pain to purpose story. And my hope is that in sharing my story, you see a little bit of yourself in that story as well. And that you have hope to understand that if you are facing and dealing with chronic pain every day, or some other health challenge or other life challenge, really, that these are not meant to be a punishment for us, but really to open us up to where we've been denying actually a better version of ourselves. And that's what I found to be true. But I didn't see it like that in the beginning. So I'm going to share with you a little bit of my story and how I discovered that missing link, and that was the nervous system. And through that, I discovered that pain was not the enemy. Pain was a messenger. And like they say, don't shoot the messenger, right? That's what we try to do, especially with chronic pain. You know, we're basically told to medicate it, to cut it out, or it means even try other things. And maybe you've been doing some of these things. Maybe you've had surgery. Maybe you've been had injections. Maybe you've been taking medications. And maybe you've gone a more natural route, like I did in the beginning as well. And you're trying anti-inflammatory diets and acupuncture and energy work and massage and supplements and all the testing that goes along with often when you're seeing a naturopathic doctor. It's not that these things are wrong. It's just that they're not really addressing the true root cause. The pain is a symptom, it's not a root cause. And so, what we know now is that in order to calm the pain, we need to calm the system, the nervous system. And when we do that, everything changes because our body's natural healing ability can then take over. So, when I'm talking about the nervous system, I'm talking about, you've heard the fight or flight state of the nervous system, or the rest, digest, repair, rejuvenate state of the nervous system. If we're in that fight, flight, flee, we cannot heal in that state. Our body's natural healing ability is not active then. It's trying to fight for our life. Our system is trying to fight for our life because it thinks that because we're experiencing this fear, because our nervous system is not calm, that there's danger, and it thinks that danger is life threatening. It might be stress in your life, which is very real, but our system assumes that any fear that we are feeling like that is a life or death situation. It thinks we're in mortal danger. And so even if we do all these other things, it's not going to help in the long run. There may be short-term benefits, and I experienced that. But in the long term, if we don't address nervous system regulation, then it's not going to, your body can't fully heal. It might heal for a little while. It might suppress the symptoms for a little while, but in the long run, we've got to really address the nervous system. So this requires a bit of a mind shift. And this is what I found when I had the mindset of like, why is this happening to me? And I said that in my head many times when I was at my worst and I was in terrible pain and not sleeping and unable to do things in life. I would say, why is this happening to me? And what changed everything for me is when I heard the phrase, this is happening for me, not to me. Now, I know that when you're in chronic pain, it's like, how can this be a gift? It really does not feel like a gift. But remember that it's a messenger. It's a messenger awakening us to deeper issues. So, what I've discovered in all my research, which has now been 9 years of research, reading hundreds of books and scientific papers and reading or interviewing hundreds of people, that it is the stress state of the nervous system underlying all of this. And some of us may not even be aware of it because this stress state of the nervous system may have been with us most of our lives. Most of us have experienced some form of childhood trauma. Even if you think you haven't, it could have been something, one small thing. It could be, a lot of trauma. It could be that what we call, uppercase T trauma. But it could be something mild. Mine was very mild, but it created in me a underlying, I'm not safe here. Not that I consciously thought that, but when you're very little, before the age of 7, you don't have cognitive abilities then. You just like feel afraid, or you cry, or you feel embarrassed, or whatever. Your system just reacts. And so it forms a pattern. And we see those patterns actually in our behaviors. And author I really like, Gabor Mate, talks about this and in his book, When the Body Says No. And actually, even Carl Jung talked about this, these behavioral adaptations that we create from a very young age that are indicators that our nervous system is in a fear state. Now, if you've been to my webinars, you've heard me talk about this. So some behaviors that I see over and over again, they're associated with chronic pain and actually a lot of health conditions, are people pleasing, perfectionism, hypervigilance, hyper independence, being overly polite, the inability to say no and set boundaries. And all of those things are actually coming from an underlying belief of not feeling good enough and fear. In other words, we have to be polite, we have to be perfect, we have to be a people pleaser, we have to be independent in order to feel safe. So we've created these behaviors for safety. So they're okay, and they probably have done us well for most of our lives. But still, the underlying hum in our nervous system is fear, not safe. And over time, our brain interprets this, and so our system. So that, remember that these beliefs are in our subconscious mind. The subconscious mind runs our body. So if the subconscious mind is getting the message that things are fearful, then it is going to have a chemical and physical response in the body for fear. In other words, it thinks we've got to fight, flee, protect ourselves. And so some of the systems start to not work very well. The hormonal system, which is the endocrine system, the digestive system, the immune system and other systems. Of course, they're like put to the back burner because our brain thinks we're in danger. Now, one of the things the brain creates in the body for protection is pain. So this happens all the time when we have an injury, we get pain. That's protection so that we don't, for example, walk on our twisted ankle. So pain can actually be a form of protection. It is a form of protection. Now, what happens? This is almost like secondary. What happens when we have pain or we have an illness? Of course, it creates fear. So I don't know if this sounds like you, but this was me. I had all this fear when I was in that worst state of pain of, oh my goodness, I'm not going to be able to live in this house. I can't manage these stairs. What about my future? I'm almost disabled. What's this going to mean? I'm not going to be able to do all these things that we plan. And, on and on and on it went. Well, of course, thoughts like that create more fear. And so then our brain registers more fear and it turns on more protection. So you get more pain. So we can get stuck in a pain fear cycle. And it could also be worsening of symptoms, other symptoms cycle, right? Because our whole system thinks we're in pain. Anyway, I discovered this along the way. Initially, I was doing, the anti-inflammatory diets, and I was doing all the supplements and the naturopathic testing, and I was doing all of those things. But it wasn't until I really realized what was going on was that I wasn't addressing this underlying stress that I've been carrying my whole life. I needed to address that. And once I started to address that, that's when things really changed for me. And I eventually did let go of the pain, rheumatoid arthritis. Now, that doesn't mean I'm done forever. These are lifetime tendencies for me. And I still may sometimes go back to people pleasing, perfectionism, gotta do it all. And when I do that, I get messages from my body again, and I have to reevaluate. Okay, go back to feeling calm and doing all of the nervous system regulation things that I teach. So, speaking of those, I have put those, what I have researched and found and backed by science, based on neuroscience, based on psychoneuroimmunology, based on all this pain research I've been doing. I've distilled it down to about 12 habits that we can bring into our life. And when we bring these habits or rituals, however you want to call it, when we bring these things into our life, we can calm the nervous system. And it's through that creating calm and letting our brain know that we are safe, that the body then does its healing work naturally. It can release the pain, the protection it's putting up. The systems can start to work well again. So I put them all into 12 habits, and they in a what I call a blueprint, the design blueprint. So the 12 habits are on 6 steps of the design blueprint, and the design stands for desire, explore, surrender, integrate, generate, navigate. And it's a blueprint, kind of circular, and you can circle around it again. In the beginning, I've got very starter kind of habits, but then you can go around the blueprint again and go a little bit deeper in some of these habits. So that's what I have actually put together in my book, which is called, as I mentioned earlier, Pain Free on Purpose. So it's on purpose, in other words, intentional, but also like it's a purpose, pain to purpose. So it's called Pain Free on Purpose. Use your mind to heal your body and get your life back. So it's use your mind to help you bring these habits in, create the calm that can send the message to the nervous system that all is well, and then the body can do its healing work naturally. It's very simple, but don't let its simplicity fool you, because it's not, it is very powerful. It's very powerful. And so I put it into this step by step by step program that you can follow along. Now, the book is available for pre-order. So I'm going to direct you to my website, and there's a link there for you to pre-order the book. You can also join my insiders circle and get extra bonuses for the book. And so if you go to thewellnessengineer.com/book, you can join the insider circle. You can get the pre-order link there. And the book then will be available July 8th. 2025. That's the ebook. The actual physical copy of the book will be available for order on Amazon July 22nd, 2025. So I'm excited about this book coming out in the world. And really, this has been my pain to purpose story, and I'm sharing it with you so that hopefully you won't make the same mistakes that I did, that you can start right away with creating the calm and letting your nervous system know, letting your brain, your mind, use your mind to tell your body that things are safe, that everything is okay. So this book actually is what I wish I had access to when I was in the worst pain and when I was starting all these other things. And I spent probably 2 years not doing the wrong things, because there's no regrets, because through that I learned for you. But I did spend a couple of years chasing down a whole bunch of other things and not dealing with the nervous system. And my healing could have been a lot faster if I had known about that right from the start. So that's what I want to give to you. So this is for you if you have already tried everything, or if you haven't tried anything yet. If you have lost hope, I want you to know that there's hope. And if you know deep down inside, if there's something saying, I was meant for more. That was what my message was, that right in the beginning, I knew I was not meant to be in pain. And you're not meant to be in pain either. Our lives, we came here to live full and complete lives. And the pain is just telling us you're not living that full version of yourself. I wasn't living that full version of myself when I had that underlying belief that I wasn't good enough. I was holding back. I wasn't speaking my truth. I was busy being busy and trying to be too perfect and all of that. And instead, I have so much compassion for that version of me, but I love the version of me that I am now. But that other version brought me to where I am now. So healing is possible. I'm not anyone special. If I can do it, you can do it. So follow along with the design blueprint and help calm your nervous system so that you too can begin to release the pain and also let that fuller expression of you come through. All right. So once again, it's thewellnessengineer.com/book to pre-order, or you can go directly to Amazon and search the book. And I'd love for you to join my insiders circle so you can get some extra bonuses that other people aren't going to get. And yeah, looking forward to supporting you. Okay, so I'd also love to invite you to be part of the movement. Another bigger reason why I wrote this book is because 20% of the population or even higher suffers from chronic pain. We have an opioid crisis. People are desperate. They don't want to be in pain, and I don't blame them, but they don't know another way. So this is a movement, a pain-free movement that I'm creating or part of. I want to just spread it. I want to spread the word and do something about that 20% of the population that's living with chronic pain, because that's not who any of us came here to be. All right, my friend, I always do like to share what's one thing you can do today that's going to begin to shift your body into healing. And I would say the very first thing, which is the first habit, is to start with the breath. You always have the breath with you. It's totally free and portable, and it's the fastest way to calm your nervous system. So notice your breath. I love to say start with an exhale. So breathe out through your nose with an exhale. pulling your belly button back towards your spine, and then inhale into your belly. And that will help you make long, slow inhales and exhales. Keep repeating it. Just notice the sound of your breath. Notice how your breath feels as it goes in and out through your nostrils. Notice the movement of your belly, and that in itself will begin to calm. All right, my friend, I hope you have a beautiful day. Don't forget to rate, review, subscribe, share this with someone who needs to know about it. And I look forward to seeing you in my insider circle and also on the next episode of Wellness by Design. All right, we'll see you soon.